Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video over on the channel by the name of LeaIsChill. Today, I just wanted to go ahead and kind of throw back to an old style of video I used to do, where I really wanted to take a look at the Google Play Store and kind of discuss what it's kind of up to at the moment. There's been a couple of really big changes, and I wanted to talk to you guys about these sort of observations I've had, since I'm the kind of person who usually scrolls through the Google Play Store, the Switch Store, the Steam Store, just to try and see if there's anything new or intriguing on it. So let's go ahead and hop over to the Google Play Store, and we're just going to discuss the industry as a whole. Alrighty, so I'm just going to go ahead and capture it like this. I basically just wanted to talk about like what the Google Play Store has been looking like as of recent, because I've noticed a couple of really big changes, and it really seems like Google Play is also making bank off of these advertisers. So as you can see, the top banner when you first open the Google Play Store is the two highest profile games you'll see around, and typically this is usually reserved for anniversaries on games or really high profile events that people would care a ton about, or if the game itself is making absolute bank. So Honkai Star Rail and Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, I think, are two really good examples of that. And otherwise, there's only the scariest pizzeria around in Five Nights at Freddy's that in this other one. Yeah. So this top category, if you end up opening the Play Store, this is basically them trying to be like, I paid a shit ton of money to be right here in your face. And the people below it paid slightly lesser money to be right in your face. I do feel like a lot of the ones I see here are ones I haven't installed for myself, but you actually can't see the thing I want to talk about most. So obviously, haven't played Strike Force. Genshin Impact I've been off of since Inazuma wrapped up, and so they're releasing Fontaine right now. I am interested in getting back to it. It's just such a heavy investment, and if I'm not streaming it, it feels like a waste of time. So I'm not quite sure. Omni Heroes I haven't touched, Era Conquest I haven't touched, and they just dropped Black Clover Mobile inside Canada today, though I did find out, unfortunately, apparently it's going to be region locked. So they released it inside Switzerland and Canada today, and that server is by itself. So when they release the North American version, you're not going to be able to play cross-server between Canada and North America. So it's also why I'm kind of hesitant to start an account on this. I'm going to look into today to see if there's any big PV, like P or co-op elements to the game. If not, I might try and make a video for tomorrow. Obviously, we're back to content creation. I want to get some stuff done. But this is what I've been seeing a ton of. And I don't really know how to approach this discussion without coming across as like really preachy. So let's just go ahead and talk about it. So there are a new genre of games where it's asset flips of previously popular games or ones that are currently still around, and they're flipping the assets from those old ones to be able to re-release it and make their own gacha out of it. So someone could have done this with Reinvoke along the way, and it would have just made bank. But as you can see here, it is literally like the art from Bleach Immortal Soul. This is the idle version. This is a Bleach game, and this is a very small segment of it. But I came to realize when you do search up Bleach on the App Store, Bleach Spirit Slayer Soul Power is the first one to pop up these days. Oh my god, titties. Anyway, I was not ready for that. But you can see here, there's multiple games on the App Store released by different creators. Publisher Alan Carrick for this one. Soul Slayer was Circuit Squad, which has no other games, by the way. And this just asset flips a lot of the Bleach Brave Souls assets but it's unofficial. It's not like the Bleach Mobile 3D version. And Brave Reaper's Soul Maxima is such a surreal name for it. This is becoming a lot more common. And because we currently don't have any Naruto games as well, that's also become a really big part of it. So you can see here, this is a different game. I believe this one is one that's horizontal, but it's also like a 3D idle game that kind of asset flips. I think I actually got an email about this one years and years ago. Apparently now it's being published by Pamela Jen. So you go, Pamela. Oh, but you can see, like, they're choosing random ass names. Wang Fu. You know, I respect it. But they're just flipping the same assets from previous games into different versions, and they're being able to farm the kids downloading free games off of the Play Store. And even just getting that amount of time and being able to sell that information for, because when you install these games, you're not only putting your account or like hitting guest or something like that. If you connect your Google account, they can now see your full name, they can see your phone number, they can see like your payment details if you end up making a purchase on the game as well. And so it is fairly risky to put, it's not actually like super risky to you as a person, more so your information, to put your stuff into these games as well. And so Zhou Xingjing is doing his best. And it's the case where I saw it mostly with Bleach, but if you search up Naruto, you'll find Pride of Nindo, which is the exact same thing. There's no images here, but if you install the game, it is like 17 banners, and all of them are like 90 to guarantee a character, and it's basically just made to farm people for money. And so this is now what's happening on the Play Store. Because we're running lower on officially licensed games, we only have the one Ninja Voltage, which I have not touched in over like 2 years plus at this point. And because there's a rift in the industry where stuff is missing, the gaps are being filled in by fan content that's able to monetize that and then also make bank off of that IP while sliding under the radar. The Naruto ones I think are a lot more popular. It's like 500k downloads on that one, 500k downloads in this one. They're both different as well. Like one of them was, this one's a portrait style game where it's a team of 5. It's like an idle game. Well, this one down here is more so like a turn-based RPG where you have 2 skills. It's kind of similar to Star Rail if it was a lot less polished. But it's Naruto. So yeah. And then obviously, as you get further down, you find a couple of more actually. It's like, so I would say Pride of Nindo, Ultimate Wars, Ultimate War Challenge, Path to Supremacy, Ninja Reborn, Early Access, Ninja Saga, Legendary Heroes Revolution, Ultimate Ninja AFK, and King of Ninjutsu. All of these, that's 10 different games from the Naruto franchise. I think that multiple of, like, some of these are the exact same game, just renamed, but I want to say there's at least 3 different types of development and types of games made here. This one looks a lot like the old Facebook game that used to be around. I think it was called like Trial of Shinobi or something like that. But the other ones are just pretty blatant. And so in an industry in which fans are also able to do these asset flips and are putting out these games the same way that Bandai would, it makes it so that when you're looking at the App Store, it's a lot harder to discern like what's of high quality. And when I look at Pride of Nindo, for example, Pride of Nindo and Overmortal, both of those have the same sort of like dopamine receptor thing that goes off in my brain when I see it. because both those icons are really fucking pretty. And so I would obviously click it and scroll on through it and be like, ooh, I don't like that at all. I'm not going to install that. And that is a lot of my habit. Same with the Monkey King over here. They did the same thing with Digimon. So Digimon's had 4 different games at this point. Every single one of them is closed down, and in its place, we've gotten these. So there's 2 different versions of the Digimon games. It looks like this one was just renamed and re-put up, but this is the Chinese game that's also over on the Huawei App Store. This is fully translated, but it's Cyber Digifusion. And obviously, anytime you find the developer of these, they'll always only have one game under their name. It's just an odd one. Also, tutorial app. Obviously, you know, I'm looking forward to them hopefully dropping something soon. It's a lot later than I thought, but we'll see. Same thing with this one. This is a different style of game using 2D sprites instead of 3D models, and it seems to be more so like hand put together things. I found this one to be pretty high quality. It's also sus as hell, and I only installed it on LD player as in my emulator, because I wouldn't trust it on my main phone. But yeah, 2 more right here as well. A couple of copy pastes, it looks like. But yeah, it's wild what's happening to the Play Store now. And obviously the first 2 sections are top monetization, second monetization, which is just like a big row of a bunch of stuff with people. Like the developers just paid money to be able to be up here. And then we have the second events category, the one for people who spent less money on Google Play, but you know, we still wanted to advertise our new event. So Azure Lane, Chronicle of Infinity, I'm surprised Tower of God's here, but I guess they're making bank right now. I've seen people going crazy on those banners on YouTube. It is actually absurd, and I hope those people are doing okay. Aether Gazer, rad game, really, really hard to play as a side game, and so it really wants you to be manual. Blade Idol, they dropped this one on Google Play Games Beta. So Google Play Games Beta pretty much is Google Play's version of an emulator, but it is only for specific games. And so they have stuff like Dragon Ball Legends, they have stuff like Blade Idol. They don't have a lot of the more sus ones. And so it's only things that are approved by the company itself. It's kind of curious. It's almost like they're trying to protect their brand in some kind of way, which wouldn't be too surprising. Tower of Fantasy, Outer Plane, Idol, and Vanilla Saga over here. Honestly, a lot of these ones inside this event category are ones that I personally don't touch pretty much at all. I want to say the only ones I've installed and tried out is Blade Idol, Aether Gazer, Tower of God, and Azure Lane like 5 years ago. But it was very early on, and I have not went back to it. And the thing is, like, if we look at this app store, I do think that the Black Clover game is one of the highest quality ones that is coming out. It's a licensed version of what Eversoul was trying to be, which is an entirely other game right here. But this game is really, really fucking pretty. It just doesn't have the longevity that I need because it doesn't have characters I care about, while Black Clover probably will have that. So I probably will spend some extra time on there. Suffice to say, it is a really... Oh, we found number 11. Ninja Hero Storm Battle, of course. But why did I ever think there was less than 11 Naruto games out? Yeah, this is just so surreal to me. Because when I used to scroll through the App Store, it was very much Bandai centric. And so they had a pretty big monopoly on the market. And that was before Genshin came out. And during the time where there was 3 different Naruto games, there was two different Bleach games. Then Mortal Soul came out. And obviously One Piece is just One Piece. But nowadays, in order to find a Bandai game inside here, either you keep on scrolling until you find Dokkan or Treasure Cruise, or like you're looking at completely different companies. I say as I click on the other Bandai one. I just want to see the other stuff here. Integral Factor is actually a proper MMO version of Sword Art Online. And apparently this is, I made a video on it a long time ago. This is dropping on PC at some point this year. So I'm actually really interested in that one. Sword Art Online Versus. See, this one should have been really cool, and I haven't heard anything about it. I'd be curious to make a video about it. But yeah, aside from Slime, there's Dokkan, Treasure Cruise, Bounty Rush, and Legends. See, those are always like the side pivot options. And of course, Ultra Impact. It's so hard for me to talk on that one. Because Bandai also killed off a game to get Ultra Impact on the stores. But here, let's scroll through some anime games and see if there's any other like big licensed things aside from the Bandai ones we were just looking at. And I'm looking for like official versions. I'm not looking for Angry Space Warrior. Yeah. Arcana Tactics, Epic Conquest. I think this one's pretty interesting. When I was in like high school or like middle school, this is the kind of shit I would just toss on my iPod to be able to play stuff in class, you know? Critica was another example of that. This is a cute little example. One of the games I used to play when I was, I remember I was a teacher for a little while. I was overseeing a grade 2 classroom. And while I was playing Bulu Monster on my phone. Bulu Monster, not a very good game. It burned my phone the fuck up, but I was just playing it because it was something to grind for free on the side. Path to Nowhere, once again, another one where they're trying to make a brand new franchise. Like, it is them trying to compete directly with stuff like Arknights and PGR, which is Punishing Gray Raven. Like, pretty angsty, good designs, Wooga. Anyway, suffice to say, Sky Utopia, I haven't even heard about that one. Saint Seiya, I personally am not a fan of Saint Seiya all that much. I grew up with it when I was super young, but I just remember it being that weird Zodiac thing where they had gold armor. I actually didn't get all that into it. There's like an idle game, there's an actual like turn-based RPG it looks like. Konosuba actually did release. What else does Saysoft have? They only have another Otome game. Interesting. I've heard the monetization on this one is pretty bad once you waste all of your free-to-play gems, but I personally have only played it via interacting with it via rerolls. And so I rerolled on it a couple of times when it first dropped, when the Overlord collab came out, and just sporadically. Just because I like to have a good idea of what these games are. And think of it as like, if I can use like half a skill point to learn a lot about a game that I don't really care all that much about, it's just good to know, because when that closes down, that's now history. So it's just a curious one. Slime Isekai, I think that one's a really good one as well. It has the same sort of like features that Black Clover does. It just doesn't appeal to me because of this like 3D battle RPG style. It's basically the Fate Go style, but you can choose more than 3, and you're just trying to match all together. I just didn't find it to be all that dopamine-inducing for me, and so I didn't stay on it. As did a lot of creators. I want to say a lot of creators dropped it after like 2 months or so. I never made a video on it, but yeah. We're down to Final Fantasy. So far, we've seen Saint Seiya and Konosuba for licenses. Otherwise, I would count Slime. Slime, but that's Bandai. So I'm going to take that away because we're not talking about Bandai. That was the whole point. Like, Bandai games have become such a rarity to the point where it's a very, very small margin. But here, Final Fantasy, Blue Archive, never touched any of those ones. Alchemy Stars, haven't touched that one either. There's a My Hero scuffed game. And it looks like they're actually asset flipping. No, I think that cape, that Gran Torino cape that is not how you spell costume. Costumen, like autumn, is from Smash Tap. Looks like it's a turn-based RPG. At that point, just play Ultra Impact. But I guess to have more options is to have value, and that is inherent. Otherwise, nothing else. King of Fighters All-Stars, Netmarble games always end up having that. Pokemon Unite, I'd be really surprised if it actually hits 4 years. I think it'll hit 3. I would be really sussed out to see if it ends up making enough income over the next couple of years to be able to stay as a live service game. Personally, I can't even play it right now because in order to connect to it, I have to use a VPN on my Switch. And so I have to connect to the VPN on my phone, on the Wi-Fi, to be able to connect the Switch to my mobile data, to get into the game past the title screen, and then after I'm past the title screen, then I can hop back onto my actual Wi-Fi to be able to play the game itself. And I haven't played in over a year and a half because of it. I don't even know why it's the case, but when I tweet about it, it seems like it's not only me, and so it just seems like there's some sort of like system in place where some sort of connections aren't allowed in. I'm hoping to try and fix it, but I want to keep an eye on Pokemon Unite going forward because its monetization is pretty predatory, but I'm surprised at how much it thrived in its first year, and it only started falling off after that first year. And it's starting to taper off quite a bit more now. It hopped up for anniversary, it seems like, and then back down, but I once put out a tweet about this, and I found this to be really interesting. If League of Legends came out in 2009 and didn't get enough players to be able to gain a fan base, it could have had a lifespan of 2 or 3 years and then died off without ever becoming a multimedia franchise. This is now the opposite version. This is a multimedia franchise seeing the success of League of Legends and then creating their own until it stops making money for them, versus League of Legends being the thing that made Riot relevant in a lot of the communities that I'm in. It's really, really curious to me. And I think that there's a serious feeling of lost media when it comes to the idea of like, there's a timeline where League of Legends stopped existing 3 years in and then just was gone from everywhere forever. And it was only talked about in like sub-communities talking about this old Dota-like game they used to play. Like, it'd be crazy, right? This Pokemon Unite, it's gonna be really, really sad, the idea that all of these characters are being developed just for the sake of this game to go offline in just a couple of years. But I really don't have faith in the system itself to keep this game going for a long amount of time. Also, just because of like past Pokemon games, if it's not Shuffle, typically it gets kicked to the curb a lot of the time. Puzzle Quest got kicked to the curb. Pokemon Masters is actually thriving still, but I want to say that's at 2.5 years, which is just before Unite. So it's kind of curious. I'm going to keep an eye on Unite. Maybe I'll try and make a series on archiving one gameplay of each of the characters. Because if I can get it working, I do like how this game plays. It's just hard, you know? Otherwise, One Punch Man. They're actually releasing a new One Punch Man game, unfortunately, by Crunchyroll. And it's going to play very similar to the My Hero, The Strongest Hero game, which is like a Devil May Cry style. So I think I'll like it a lot more than this like idle RPG style. Though I do like the art they used inside here. King and his engine going off. Yeah, it's a tough market to be in as well, because I think that it's so hyper competitive that you really need to try and sell yourself in a very unique way, and it's just not viable for these smaller franchises to do that. And a lot of the time, games will start to thrive after the second anniversary, and so any time before that, it's pretty bare bones and still being developed up to that point. A lot of games you'll see, like, they hit their stride a lot of the time after second anniversary, which I guess if I'm talking about Unite, that could be a good sign. I'm not quite sure. It's just the way that it's been trending so far, I'm curious. Oh yeah, this one. I played this one for a little bit. I want to say I got to level 75. This is basically an idle game that has a bunch of scuffed side art. You can see Saitama, Mikasa, Angemon, Miku, Ray from Evangelion with cat ears, and Maple from, like, Bofuri. Also Levi. It is pretty fucking weird. You can also see Jotaro there. Basically, this game is plausible deniability, the game. They have a Kakarot. Okay, I couldn't find the Kakarot, unfortunately. I really wanted to. You can see him in the tiniest form with the Majin symbol on his head here, but here instead, take a picture of the Kaneki from the game. They have a lot of franchises, and every one of them is kind of off and scuffed, but just close enough where you'll get hyped about collecting the character. Kind of the point, you know? I want to say there's always been games like this, like the extreme cross-franchise, kind of scuffed and slightly off of the original, like, franchise, but not quite completely. Here, I just want to scroll to the bottom of this. Eden Zero, I haven't personally touched it, haven't watched it. I don't like Fairy Tail. Fuck it. Ninja Reborn, Lord of Heroes, yeah. Okay, so it's just more of the exact same stuff. And obviously it starts advertising the scuff, like Digimon and Bleach games we were talking about a second ago. But what I wanted to search in here, anime game. So when I do that, I'd like to find a certain one. Oh, actually, it's interesting. Pride of Nindo has proper advertisements using the art from Voltage inside here. They actually do have Baryon mode as well. Kind of interesting. They refuse to put any actual indicators here, but they'll put indicators of Sasuke on the sponsored segment. Curious. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for... There's... Ah, I found it. Yeah, this was so weird. And this game has been out for such a long-ass time. It's so surprising that it still, to this point, gets updates. So when did this release? Last update on November 4th, 2022. That seems wrong. Released on November 20th, 2016. That means that this game has been around for 7 years. Oh my fucking god. I was playing this game on the couch during my last year of high school, way before any of these Gear 5 Luffy's or anything, but it was like the most scuffed version of, like, Luffy being, I think he turned into a big balloon, and then Ace with, yeah, see this Ace up here with the Elizabeth hat from Gintama? Yeah, he lights Luffy on fire, and then it just has in big letters, Hot Wheels, and he attacks. This has always been a popular side piece on the store that has just been accepted for the longest time, and obviously Wagon Games, I haven't seen them around at all. They have multiple of the exact same style of game, like this is the copy-paste exact same thing. The Wagon Who Carry the Most Fun Game. Oh my god, these models. Anyway, I kind of like these. I know it's not official, I know it's not, like, super high quality, But this was the sort of thing that in a lull of Bleach games, for example, between Bleach Soul Resurrection and like Brave Souls way later, there was absolutely no content for Bleach whatsoever. And so being able to pull up this game and be like, oh, that's true Shikai Ichigo with the half mask was absolutely rad. And of course, me being a kid in high school, it's a lot easier for you to install a free game that has the character you like on your phone than it is for you to spend $80 on a full-scale RPG or some sort of like official console game, you know? And so it is very often that you're just kind of searching around for whatever. Invincible Hot Wheels. Sorry, that was the name of Luffy and Ace's attack together. Of course. I think there's a lot of money to be made in a proper adaptation of a jump-centric collection game, but you also have to realize that there's a very specific way you have to monetize it, like more similar to Dokkan, to be able to create that longevity. Because we had games like, I'm just going to pop them up here as I talk about them, like Weekly Ori Collection, which was basically every single Shonen Jump franchise, including Demon Slayer and World Trigger, and it was like a turn-based RPG, but it ended up flopping because no one wanted to spend money on it after its renewal, because they didn't have faith in the game anymore because they renewed the gameplay entirely and turned it from Ori Collection 1 to Ori Collection 2, from a portrait game into a horizontal game, and killed it. And so they just need to make decisions that are more centered around the consumer themselves. They have to translate it and bring it over here, obviously. And I think that capitalizing on the manga market and the hype around it is really smart. There's currently a game called Jumpudi Heroes, and it uses manga panels as its animations for its ultimates, and so it's able to adapt things that were never like in the anime as well. So like it has Cambio Forma Suna from Katekyo Hitman Reborn. He just has a different outfit, he has different gloves and like leg things, but the fact that they can adapt that even though it was never adapted into a show is exactly the hype that people are looking for from these series. And so one of the reasons people liked Bleach Brave Souls so much and was so excited about it is because Thousand Year Blood War created value. It was adaptations of something that was only in manga form without any color, completely adapted into a game finally for the first time. Gear 5th, obviously it's big and hype, because Treasure Cruise was adapting it the same week as the anime. I think that that is the direction that games as a service should go, and it should be like trying to plan things around big new hype releases while also like respecting the original and not like puppeting its corpse like Tokyo Ghoul Dark War may have done in the past. It's just you have to have good faith in the developers alongside non-predatory monetization and make it so that you have consistent releases and intrigue releasing every couple of weeks, if not more. And that's a big ask of a brand new team. And that's why it takes these 2 years to really get these games as a service's feet planted firmly in the dirt so they can actually start developing things properly. And finally, last thing I want to talk about. Crunchyroll continues to let this game sit here. This game, My Hero Academia, The Strongest Hero, is one of the most exciting releases of 2021, and now sits here with no new characters in over a year, even though it's currently the 2nd anniversary. I was trying to figure out what the problem is, because they've only done reruns. They released 3 new characters in Jirei, Sun Eater, and Lemillion/Mirio. Basically the big 3 they released inside this game, and then they went radio silent permanently afterwards, just releasing like maintenance updates and giving out basic ass shit. I learned after I was discussing this and saw the full list of the dates at which these reruns happen, I opened up QApp and I realized something. So if you guys didn't know, originally this game wasn't released in Japan. The first release of My Hero Academia: The Strongest Hero was in traditional Chinese, and I had played it, gotten Tokoyami, and made some old videos on it, right up until the English version dropped. And I came over here to QApp to realize that the game is no longer in service over on the like Chinese side, which means that the Chinese game probably released the big 3, Nejire, Sun Eater, and Lemillion, and then the entire team dissolved and died, and so they didn't adapt any more characters because the original dev team that had been the ones developing it were like fired or are just gone now because they created it in original Chinese. You can find the European version, which is a different server, and you can find the English version both on QApp as well. This is basically like the Japanese app store that allows you to download a lot of things on Android. And the fact that the original version of the game is the one that shut down, and these ones are the ones that are just puppeting the corpse of it and just monetizing the same rerun banners, I would be very, very surprised if this game makes it out of this year. Crunchyroll, unfortunately, has pretty bad history of closing games right before second anniversary, or getting rid of the license for that game right before they have their second anniversary with them. So like they bought Bungo here. They had bought Bungo Stray Dogs Tales of the Lost, which will load up right here. And they owned it for the first like year and a half of its publishing, and then they moved over to a different publisher because Crunchyroll was done with them. It wasn't making enough money for them, and so they just moved on. And that seems to be a lot of how their business model is. They did that with the Naruto game. They seem to be doing it with the My Hero game, and Pre-Con, Princess Connect, definitely had that happen as well. It's really unfortunate, but My Hero, The Strongest Hero, technically is the first Crunchyroll game that has made it over its second anniversary. It just happens to have not been updated in over a year at this point. And this is the sort of disrespect that these games as a service are just accepting and making their norm. It is put out a competent product, and instead of making it like your live service game or making it your consistent updates, instead it becomes like a side piece for the company itself just to have as like a side hustle. It's like this guy's selling courses, but the courses are Luffy. You know what I mean? Suffice to say, I think that there are a lot of flaws with this industry as a whole. And the fact that if in the future I would like to show my kid a My Hero Academia game that plays like Devil May Cry, one of my favorite series, and get super hyped about it with him, I won't be able to do that because Strongest Hero may just be dead by then. And that's a fact. And clearly it has become morning, and so hopefully you guys are doing well. I just wanted to chat today, kind of talk about the industry as a whole, what we're kind of going through. Let me know if you want to see videos on a couple of things I talked about today. Black Clover Mobile, obviously, is a big one, but I have a couple of other ideas that are kind of shooting around inside my head. I really want to have faith in these games going forward, and the only way that that faith is going to be gained is through more high quality games to come out and to continue to get those updates to renew that faith in these companies like Netmarble, Crunchyroll, pretty much all of these. Like, it's important. For now, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Let me know if you have any like weird fun facts about the Play Store gachas that I didn't talk about today. There's a lot of weird quirks about the Play Store, and obviously you don't see a lot of the back end. For now, thanks for watching. Take it easy. Bye for now.